Hey guys, welcome to my channel and thank you so much for joining me today. Now I've been using a very expensive eyeshadow palette for a while, so I have some thoughts. I wanted to come on here and share my thoughts and review this palette and swatch this palette out for you guys and tell you if this really worth the money. So this is by NARS and this is the box that it came in, and this is their brand new eyeshadow palette that they launched, and this is a limited edition palette, and this is called Wanted Eyeshadow Palette. That's it. It's just called Wanted Eyeshadow Palette, and it's like the picture, to be honest, I didn't really figure out what this is. I just thought it's a very like a color gradient kind of thing going on, and then I saw a review on this, and then I figured it's like a very low resolution picture of an eyeshadow look. So honestly, it's like very zoomed in. I didn't really figure it out by myself. So yeah, it has like a picture, very low resolution kind of a picture of an eye with some eyeshadows, and this retails for $59. And let me check if this is exclusive to Sephora or not. This is exclusive to Sephora, guys. It says exclusive and limited edition. Now, NARS actually says, let's just take a look at what NARS says on the product page on Sephora's website. It just says that this palette is a limited edition palette of 12 high impact shadows with an all new pure pigment formula. So NARS claims that the formulation in this particular palette, the formula is completely brand new. So I'm not sure if they're reformulating all of their eyeshadows or not, but the formulation in this palette is brand new, and they actually mentioned this in few places, pure pigment formula. So they say that it's like packed with pigment for endless eye looks, and then they say that the shades are lightweight shades, they are crease and sweat resistant, and the finishes range in this particular palette ranges from matte and satins and glittering metallic finishes. And again, they say that the formula is an all new pure pigment formula which delivers richest, most intense color payoff with just one stroke. So what else? And they also talk about this color scheme going on in this particular palette. They say they have pale pinks, seductive nudes, and glistening rose gold. So the palette, the color scheme that this palette is about is rosy tones like pale pinks, rose gold. Let me quickly show you the palette. So yeah, when I saw this, I immediately, I mean, this reminded me of another palette which kind of looks similar to this, the Huda Beauty's Mauve Obsessions palette. I think that the word mauve is not like perfect for it because it is not exactly mauve. It's more of a rosy toned kind of palette. So this also, this palette also, this section, at least this section and this particular shade, they kind of look, although this is like a coppery brown shade, I don't know, these tones like catch the eye right away than these tones. So they also say that this is more of a rosy toned, rose golds and nudes kind of filled palette. So $59, you get this rosy toned, rose gold, and also some nude shades filled palette. And this is a brand new formula, they say, with an all new pure pigment formula. That's the name that they're giving. The name of the formula is pure pigment formula, and yeah, they say that's crease resistant and sweat resistant. So let's take a look at the box. This was the box. As I said, it has like the picture here, and it does have like the very reflective silvery back, and it has the list of ingredients in here. And then what else? Where is this made? This is made in Canada, guys. And yeah, that's it. I think that's all there is in the box. And let's take a look at the palette. It has like a good sized mirror, meaning the size of the palette is the size of the mirror. It's not small in anywhere. It's exactly the same size of the palette, and it's very reflective, so I don't want to blind you guys. There is a list of the names of the shadows at the back. So yeah, it's a little difficult to correlate the position of the pan and where the the position of the name of the shadow is. So I'm just going to swatch without the name of the pan. And this, it's such a mission to open this palette up. You cannot open it with just one hand, guys. You need one hand to clasp the top. Do you see this top? And then you need the other hand to clasp the bottom, and you need like a anchor support system, which is my chest right now, and you need to pull. Yeah, it's a little hard to open it, and it does come with a mirror, and these are the shades. So yeah, let's get started. Let's first swatch the top row. Yeah, top row, and then I'll share with you guys my thoughts and everything. So this is a very beige kind of nude shade. It's a complete matte color. This personally for me, I could use as a inner corner highlight without being it very ashy looking, because it has this, it's not white in color, it has a beige tone to it, so it's a good shade. Also, it also works really well when I mix this particular shade with other shades. It actually really mixes well. It doesn't look ashy or anything. And then we have like a very, do you see that very satin shade? To be honest, they are kind of the same. In fact, this is more beige than this particular color, but this is the satin finish. So I think it would be perfect for a very subtle brow bone highlight. And then you have this very shiny, very high metallic finish, which again is a beige color with a slight peachy tone. I hope you can see the peachy tone here in a concentrated swatch. It has this peachy tone, and it's really reflective, guys. Yeah, that is that. It's a very high shine finish kind of a shadow. And then this particular shade, I was really excited for this shade, because if you notice, most of the this is a very pale nude matte shade, and then you can see a mid-tone kind of a brown shade, and there are only two dark shades, at least the shades that appear dark, emphasis on appearing dark. So I was excited for this shade, but this is very muted. And it doesn't, do you see how muted that is? It's very muted, and there's not a lot of pigment, as you can see. In this particular shade, it's not because it's a finger swatch. Even when I'm using a brush, it took I had to build it up quite a bit. And again, I have to stress that it doesn't look as vibrant as it looks in the pan. It's a very muted color, guys. I was really disappointed, because I was really excited for this brick. It looks like a brick red, but I am wearing this as like a transition shade here, but this particular shade really was a little bit disappointing. Maybe they intended it to be this way, like a muted, toned down kind of a rust color, but it just, on my skin tone, I didn't like the way it looked on my skin tone. It blended well and everything, no doubt about that, but I had to build it up many times to get that all pure pigment, but eventually, maybe, I'm not sure if this is a bad shadow, or maybe this is how they wanted it to be, a muted color, but maybe it might look stronger and more pigmented on a lighter or medium skin tone, but on dark skin it's just not that, it doesn't like, it's not vibrant. It doesn't have to be vibrant. It's not like a hot tomato red that I'm expecting, but it's just very lackluster is what I'm trying to say. And then let's talk about the second row, which is, this is slightly lighter even for my skin tone, but as I said, the mattes really mix with each other really well, so you can mix in with a darker shade, which in here, for me it would be only these two shades, because I only have one option. So yeah, two options. So, but that's a nice shade, guys. It blends really well. All of the mattes perform really well. Again, it's like a peachy shade. And then you have this mid-tone brown shade, which is it actually kind of looks very light, but when you build up it kind of darkens a bit. So this is actually perfect for me as a transition shade, but I can definitely use this shade as well, guys. No doubt about that. Yeah, those two shades are really nice, but they blend really easily, and it's not like they blend away altogether. I can see these two shades on my eyelids even after blending. They still stay there even after blending. They actually adhere well to the skin. And this is one of my favorite shades in the palette. This is a duochrome, very high shine kind of finish. It's like a copper and gold kind of shift. Hope you can catch the shift here when I move my arms. Yeah. So again, these very high shine glittery eyeshadows, you definitely need to use your finger. So I feel when I wet my brush, it's not as reflective as when I use it dry. I feel when you use these glittery high shine finish eyeshadows dry, it's more reflective. I feel when you wet your brush, the pigment kind of becomes a little bit rich, but that reflective aspect of the eyeshadow kind of gets toned down. It's not reflective. So if you want it to be reflective, highly recommend just use your finger. So yeah, this is the eyeshadow that I have on the eyelids, and I used it dry. I just used my finger, and yeah, that's the one I have all of the eyelid. And actually I really like that it hasn't moved. I've been having this makeup for 5.5 hours, say, so it hasn't moved. At least the eyelid shade hasn't moved. It like stays put. It hasn't creased even a tiny bit. I really like that. It's like stays really impactful. So yeah, that's really nice. And then you have this kind of salmon pink kind of a shade. This is again a satin finish, not that very high shine reflective finish. So as you can see, it is really pigmented and it's also very beautiful. That is the shade. And then let's do the final row, maybe in this arm. This again is a very like a taupe shade with maybe even a little bit of mauve tone to it. This is so reflective. This is the shade I have on in the, wait, what's this area called? The inner corner, the inner corner of my eye. And also I brought it down tiny bit to the lower lash line. So this is in my inner corner highlight. And do you see how reflective it is? The high shine glitter finish shadows are really nice, guys. They are very reflective and they also don't fade away. They're really nice. And then you have this satin finish. The satin finishes are also nice. This is really pigmented color. This is bronze with a slight copper tone to it. It's really pigmented. It's a nice color. It like just one stroke, as they say, with just one swipe pigmentation on the satin shades. And then this is like an olive color. Do you see it has this olive undertone to it? This is an olive color, and I feel this is kind of an odd man out in this palette. So yeah, that's that olive kind of olive gray kind of shade. Again, this is also this glittery high shine finish and works well with a finger, and it also is very reflective on the eye. And then finally, I thought this is a black shade, but this isn't. When you shear it out on the when I sheared it out in the lower lash line, I just realized it's definitely a brown color, but I don't know, it looks black now, but I'm not sure. It was a surprise for me because I really thought it was a black color, but when I started blending, when you blend the shadow, it kind of shears out, so it kind of looked like very much a brown color. So yeah, I'm not really sure about that, whether it's a black or a brown. So those are the shades, guys, in the NARS Wanted palette. And my opinion, let's talk about the formula. Now the satin finishes are really good, and the high shine glitter finishes are actually very nice. They are very high shine and they don't fade away. They don't like just I mean the shimmers and the glitters don't like fall in the cheeks, and they don't like move. honestly, I didn't really experience a lot of fallout with these products as well. So I'm a big fan of the Satin. Well, not a big fan of Satin. The Satin formula is good, but I'm personally not a fan of the satin finish. But the high shine glitter finish eyeshadows are really nice, and I think they are. You get 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 shadows out of the 12 are that very high shine glittery finish. And then what else? Let's talk about the mattes. Mattes is where I have some real thoughts in this with respect to this palette. Now, first of all, the mattes blend really well. There's no contest. It's really good. No problem with the blending. But honestly, guys, with respect to the color selection for a dark skinned person, you only have 2 colors that appear dark. Emphasis on the appearing dark in the palette. So this, again, as you can see from the swatch, it's not even close to being dark and rich at all. So I'm only left with 1 dark shadow, guys. Literally, we have only 1 dark shadow, which is not fair. I don't know, and it just happens to be like this black or a brown black, I'm not sure. Wish they could have put in some kind of a berry toned color or a very deep burgundy, or even a very, I don't know, they could have done something, because they themselves say that the theme of the palette is like rose gold, rose tone and nudes, right? So for again, they've just put in 1 black or a brown black, I'm not sure. So that's something that I really disliked about the palette. It looks like we have 2 dark eyeshadows, but 1 is not dark at all. And overall, I feel even this is kind of muted, and it doesn't last very long on my skin. I don't know. I have this black or a brown black, whatever. I have this kind of smudge down here, and I have actually kind of touched up right now, because just before filming the video, but these products, the mattes, did not last well on my eyes. They actually, it was all like, I would say like almost 70% of the product had faded away, and I could see blotches where I could see my natural skin tone showing up. So it kind of had faded away. And this particular shade, again, first of all, it is a muted and not very dark shade, and I touched up here. I added like a layer of the product when I just was about to film the video. This particular shade, guys, this a brick kind of a rusty shade, it again did not last well. It kind of faded away, and I've been, as I said, I've been wearing this makeup for 5 hours, and 5 hours is not a long period of time. Makeup has to last at least 8 hours, at least that's my standard, at least 8 to 9 hours. So yeah, the biggest downside is that there's no dark color here, guys, in this palette. All of them are nudes, and we have 1 mid-tone brown kind of shade, and this also is a mid-tone, sorry, this mid-tone rust shade, this mid-tone brown shade, and you literally have just 1. And yeah, I don't feel it's just going to make using this eyeshadow palette a little bit boring. If I am to use only this palette, I would have to use just this color in the crease all the time. So I don't know. And the mattes, they don't really stay put properly on the skin. They adhere well when you apply it, but they don't like their lasting power is now not that good on my skin. It just looks very muted. The colors look very muted. They're not very rich in pigment, and the fact that now after I use this palette, I actually read the description, what's written on the product page on Sephora's website, and I was like, are we really talking about the same palette? Because this pure pigment, it's not there at all. I think the pure pigment that they are talking about is present in the glitter shadows and in the satin shadows, but with respect to the matte, I don't think so. The mattes are, honestly, with respect to blending, it's really easy to blend. Even for a beginner, it's very easy to blend these shadows. And the shadows, the mattes, they really mix very easily and beautifully with each other. When you mix this color and this color, or when you mix this one and this one, they don't turn muddy or anything. They really mix really well, very easily. With that respect, the mattes are really good, but color selection, I'm not really happy with it, and they don't really last well for long hours on my eyes. They just fade away, to be honest. So and I had to build up to get a really rich color, to deposit some rich color on my eyelids. I had to go back and forth to build up these two shades. I was really disappointed about that. It's not like extremely rich in pigmentation. Maybe that would be like a positive thing for if a beginner picks up this palette, but then again, it's $60. So if you're a beginner, I'm not sure if beginners would be interested in spending like so much like on one eyeshadow palette if they are a beginner. So yeah, as that. So all in all, this palette is not 2 thumbs up for me. It's actually, I don't like it, especially the color selection. I think the only best thing is they don't crease at all. What I mean is the glitter shadows, they don't crease, and the satin shadows also, they don't crease. They really last well. There's not much of fallout, and the matte shadows, they really mix well with each other. If you want to mix two matte eyeshadows together, they really mix well together without mudding. Yeah, without turned. Okay, let me start that again. They mix really well, and they don't look muddy on the eyelids. And what else? The downside is I hate the color selection. Oh wait, I have to do it again. Not with everything, but I really wish that they had like added more pigment to this particular shadow, and it would have really made a big difference, actually, at least for me. The fact that this is just not that pigmented leaves me only one option, which is this color. So yeah, and as I said, even the mattes, they don't really last well on me. They just fade away. They don't crease, but they like fade away after, like I said, I've been wearing this makeup for 5 hours, and it's just, I had to touch up here before I wanted to film the video, and the lower lash line was like areas where the product was still present, and there was like small areas where there was no product at all. So it looked very uneven, very blotchy, and very it wasn't very neat, you know what I mean? So yeah, that's my review, guys. So I really had some strong thoughts on this palette, and this is an expensive palette, so I wanted to come on here and share my thoughts on this particular palette. And so yeah, it's a no for me, guys. It's a no for me. And yeah, what else? I think that's it, you guys. Hope you guys found this video useful. Please give this video a thumbs up if you liked watching it, and please subscribe. Bye.